Hello and welcome to another episode of I Know What You Podcasted Last Summer. This is Mary Hughes, and to my left we have...
Kenneth.
He's unsure of who he is.
I think I got hit on the head a couple times.
Are you a body snatcher?
We'll get into the head trauma you suffered with our selection.
Head cheese coming out there.
No.
Great.
Directly across from me we have...
Veronica, hi.
That's what she knows who she is.
I gotta go.
I'll follow you.
And last but certainly not least...
It's Beatrice, but you can call me Leatherface.
Oh,
yikes.
Well, if you haven't gathered from brief comments about head blows and head cheese and Leatherface, we are finally, after I feel like promising to watch this and talk about it, at least for several
I think we only put it off like 4 months in a row now, so it's not a big deal.
But we have finally made it to 1973's Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Woo.
Actually made in 74. Set in 73, made in 74.
Interesting.
Oh, okay.
It's a weird design choice.
I mean, right?
if you're
just
that
like,
close, why not just set
just
it in the...
saying, yeah, like
We're
just-
here now.
I feel like...
No, a year ago was worse than 74. But yes, this is, we're talking about Texas Chainsaw Massacre, considered a classic by, I would say, most reputable film people.
Agreed.
And I would think most people out there in the world know the story of it, but just in case you don't, a van full of hapless young people are in Texas because one of them, their relative's grave has supposedly been defiled, and they're there to check it out. And then they just kind of go to one place from another. I think one might be property that belonged in their family or something like that. And then they just traipse off, entering homes without being invited in. And it all goes downhill from there.
Very quickly.
Yes.
Pretty much all of them.
Well, it was like, they were just like, hey, I just wonder if someone's living here or dead.
The thing that killed me, I was like, because, you know, anytime you see a movie from the 70s, there's this sort of like post-Woodstock kind of clinging a little bit to this hippie idea of like, we love hitchhiking. We'll pick up hitchhikers. We'll just go into people's houses, even if no one answers when we're saying hello. That's not something I would ever do.
Well, I feel like movies from the 70s completely turned people off from picking up hitchhikers.
Yeah, they do.
Also that and all of the serial killers in the 70s who would murder hitchhikers.
Exactly. So, you know, I feel like that's the strangest aspect of all of it is this idea that no one has any sense of self-preservation.
Hitchhiking, though, was such an American institution for so long, though. Like, my grandpa got back from the war, got dropped off at whatever port, and then hitchhiked his way home. And that was
And
how
he was perfectly fine.
Yeah, and that's how so many GIs got back
You
places.
trust somebody in uniform, though.
Sure. Yeah.
Compared to, dirty hippie.
I feel like there's
Or like
something we should
some
dive
guy
into.
with like blood on his face. And he's
Oh,
like,
yeah, like the birthmark kind of thing
yeah, it
going
looked like
on.
blood to me. And there was like, it's a birthmark. I'm like, is it? Is it though?
Is it just really dried blood?
Yeah, because obviously.
Been there for a while.
Yeah. Oh, sorry about that.
Yeah, and so for an older generation, hitchhiking was such a norm. It was part of, like you said, part of the culture, and it's just not a thing anymore.
No.
To the fact that there was not too long ago, I was driving along a local freeway, and I saw somebody literally walking down the road with their thumb out.
Oh, my God.
And I thought, what the fuck is that?
Like,
Call a lift! What the hell?
well, it's like, because if I were to see someone now doing that, I would either be like, I'd have the two thoughts of like, you're a killer and this is how you get in people's cars, or you're going to be dead real soon because that's how killers find easy prey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the closest I could see to it is I've been broken down on my motorcycle on the side of the road, and it sucks. So I've pulled over a couple times to like talk to other motorcyclists on the side of the road. But even then I'm like, hey, I can go get you gas and bring it back.
Yeah.
I'm not really comfortable with you in my car. Cool, bye.
Yeah.
That's the thing is that and I think there's two ways to look at it. You can look at it as we as a culture are less trusting and less willing to help strangers, which I think is fair, but also I think it's also more self-preservation because we have seen that on both sides of the thing. If you pick up a hitchhiker or if you hitchhike, the statistical odds that you might be brutally murdered are much higher than 0.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I like to keep it at 0. I really do.
It sucks
close
though
to the
because
0 as
crime in
possible.
general is gone down year over year for like 40 years running. So it's probably a safer time than any time ever to hitchhike. But
So, okay.
this movie ruined it
I
for
feel
us.
like we're doing like a PSA.
Yeah, so anyway,
It's safe to hitchhike now. You know,
Please
No.
don't hitchhike.
No.
just toss that thumb out, y'all.
No.
Pick up that hitchhiker.
Yeah.
Take a chance.
you'll be fine. What? It's midnight. It's perfectly safe.
Fine.
Call a Lyft or your mother.
Although, to be fair, now that we're talking about this, I do remember when I was probably in my late teens, myself and a friend of mine and my mom, we were going up to DC and we picked up someone on the side of the road. However, he was there with his parents and he was trying to get to, he was supposed to be going to where he was joining up with the army. And he was going to miss his
So you've got that uniform
drop
bump
off
though.
thing.
That's why.
And his parents were there, and they're like, "Our cars broke down. He's going to miss this. Can you please take him to
Yeah,
this
that's-
gas station
that's how
so
you
that
get
he can
Okay,
court-martialed
call?"
I mean,
or whatever.
that's pretty legit.
Yeah.
And we did that, and he was super nice, thanked us a lot, and then he was on his way. And one time, my dad and I broke down, and a guy took us to a gas station. So,
Yeah.
but I was
you.
with people.
Bucking
Yeah.
the norm.
It wasn't
Yeah.
just me.
I think,
Yeah.
lone person is a little
Yeah,
more
if it had just
worried.
been me on the highway, I don't even know. Even with his old parents there, I don't even know if I would have stopped.
I mean, yeah, because I have been helped by strangers before. I think I was maybe 19 or 20, and at that point, I must have been 22 because I was going to school in Ohio, and I was driving back and forth a lot between Illinois and Ohio, which is about an 8-hour drive. And so I was stopped at a rest stop somewhere in the middle, and I locked my fucking keys in the car.
Oh, no.
And so, like, I'm trying to get under the car to, like, get the hide key, but, like, the engine is real hot, and I, like, can't get at it. And because I'm dumb, I'm wearing, like, super low-rise jeans, and I'm, like, trying to get under there. And this, like, literally a trucker who had parked his 18-wheeler there came, like, had a pity on me and came over and was like, do you need help? And he was, like, my dad's age, and I'm pretty sure he saw me as, like, his daughter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, if my daughter was there, wouldn't I want somebody to help her? And so he, like, helped me get back in my car and looked after me. And he was very sweet, and I was really glad for the help.
Yeah,
So it is, it's not impossible. It's
I
just,
mean, there's good people in the world.
of course.
Yeah. But watching a movie like this reminds you that there's also crazy people in the world.
Yes.
I've always wondered that, though, if you get picked up by a big group of people, because I was like, if I'm in need and a big group of people, that kind of exponentially makes me feel more uneasy. If a
Yeah,
big group of people
murder
pick me
cult,
up,
yo.
I'm like, oh, I'm gonna die. No, like, if one person picked me up, I'm like, I guess I need help, But if there's more than one person, I'd be like,
I'm the opposite.
Yeah, if it was like a van full of people, I'll sing your weird hippie songs with you, whatever. One person, like, I'm getting stabbed.
I don't trust either. Neither situation. If I break down somewhere on my own, I don't know what I would do. Just lock the doors and hope someone comes.
Yeah,
looking
be like,
for me.
yeah, I just start
this is where I
walking.
live
I'm
now.
like, I guess
Yeah,
I know.
I live in this
my
car until someone comes
I'm
find
in
me.
here now.
It's like, can I
I'll
have,
just wait for the cops to come. I don't give a fuck.
can I have a pizza delivered to my brother?
Right?
It's very city-like, though. Like there's things we can walk, and we're gonna get off for freeways.
Well,
and
and that
which
is
very
true.
country. Like,
Yeah.
I was trying
Yeah.
to put. As I was watching this, I was like, okay, all right, but it's as. When people were discussing this and I was watching interviews, they're like, we wanted to put it in the outside. This is Texas, but this is like country bumpkin Texas and the out there. And I was like,
I don't think
oh,
anyone
yeah.
talks like that.
Yeah, some guy, I don't know. And I was just like, oh, I guess I just didn't think about that because the world is small now. We have the internet, we have each
Yeah.
other. It's really not
But
that
I mean,
small, big of a world.
there's still lots of places where you could drive for hours and not see anybody.
Yeah,
That's true.
Just
And
so
it's very
weird.
true. It feels smaller. It's not that small, but it does feel smaller.
We also
Yeah.
live in a city bubble.
Yeah, we do.
And I'm sure that help hurts it.
Yeah, it's like if I broke down on my way to the studio, I mean, I could walk to a 7-Eleven from pretty much anywhere.
Right?
Yeah.
You're like, I don't know.
And I mean, and it's true. I mean, even now, if you were to break down in Texas, there's still places that it's like you're in the middle of nothing.
Right.
And I mean, I almost ran out of gas taking a detour in Texas, and I about panicked myself.
Oof. That's
Yeah,
always
that's
that's scary.
Harsh.
Yeah. But in this situation, in this movie in particular, when it is set and when it was made, I feel like you're even more cut off from everything. And they are.
Yeah, because there's...
Once they leave the cemetery, that's like... They don't see anybody else except that family.
Yeah.
That's it.
And that's the thing, is that they're going to go check on the gravesite because there's somebody going out there and desecrating graves and making art pieces with the bodies.
Is that just random? Because they never connect it to the family.
Well, they don't come out and say,
pew, and then it's the hitchhiker who's taking the pictures of that. So it is them.
Which, by the way, I love that sound effect. The sound effect of the camera going off through the opening credits.
So I found the beginning of the movie the most effective. Of like the extra, like I try to imagine like, okay, I'm in the dark in movie theater back then, because now it's just like, okay, dark. Hear sound, you see a snapshot of what they're seeing, which is, you know, this rotting body and gooiness, and then a lot of exposition. It did remind me a lot of Night Living the Dead, though, but like the end of it, but also the beginning of it.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about.
You know, new story,
right?
And I was like, okay, but then like they have the exposition. Then they have John Larroquette like saying his exposition, which is amazing. He got paid for it with a joint. That was his payment.
Sounds about right.
He was like, I got paid in un joint.
that sounds, yeah.
One drug, please.
One drug.
Well, I think their budget was $140,000, so that's probably all they could afford too.
It was before he got big, but I think even when he got big, he would have been like, I'll take the one joint.
Yeah.
And then he read it, but then it felt like more exposition, like the hitchhiker, not the hitchhiker, but the people in the car, you know, all of them were all kind of more exposition. I'm like, okay. But the intro was really good, like and they setting up the tone and how hot it was, and how this heat wave. And,
I do enjoy that. I like atmosphere being created in ways that are simple. You know, I don't want it to be this too overblown thing. So the fact that just even when they hold that long ass shot of those two bodies on the
on the gravesite or whatnot, holding another body, a body holding another body.
Yeah.
So gooey. Why were they so gooey?
You know,
Also,
that
was
looked hot.
It was hot.
It
That's
looked
right.
Yeah.
sticky and dusty and gross, and
I gotta make sure Grandpa's not one of them though. So let's go
Right?
check it out.
Well, it's interesting because they put a little thing at the beginning about how this is quote unquote based on a true story.
John Larroquette, so true.
And it's based on the story of Ed Gein. So it's sort of, except that dude never used a chainsaw. And he also never ate anybody.
And running with a chainsaw would be such a hassle. Like those things are heavy.
you gotta have good
Super
arms.
heavy.
Yeah.
But Leatherface, you know,
Oh, he's a big dude.
he's a big guy.
He's a big guy, but he did trip a couple times apparently, the actor.
Yeah.
And one time he did trip and I was like, oh shit.
Yeah, I guess it was just a let me curl up and hope this doesn't land on me.
Yeah.
And it landed like a couple inches from
Holy
him while running. I'm like, yo,
It almost
that,
became a real situation.
Because he had like no peripheral view and it's dark and God.
Well, yeah,
damn it.
because he's like wearing a face on his face.
Yeah, he has a face. So you know, like, but it was kind of like did set up for me like how dumb these kids are. That I like set up all this like environment and this is what's going on and people and Toby Hooper reminded me of this in the interview that he was talking straight to me and he's like he was saying that, you know, this is Watergate time. We distrust people. We think we can trust people. We can't trust people, obviously. We all know that. We're very much in that element. This is not a surprise to us.
Well,
in
and
our day and age,
I
but
think
it's like, oh, okay.
when I was reading up about the movie and this idea that, you know, they were reflecting on some level, I have it on my notes here, but reflecting on some level of like a political statement and all this, and I was just like, nah.
Yeah. I mean, I only got in the sense that you can't trust people. I don't think what really largely it was like he was bored of horror movies, he said. He's like, I just want to make a really fun fucking movie where I get my money's worth when I go to the show. And I feel like it does.
Best quote, it's about meat.
It's about me.
It's about meat.
That's amazing.
And
I feel
apparently
like
made people stop eating meat.
Guillermo del Toro
Oh, wow.
stopped eating meat for like 4 years.
Yeah, after watching this movie.
And then he's like, and then one meal, he's like, I had 3 chickens.
oh my
And that
god.
was
a chicken seems all right. When I think of Texas Chainsaw Massacre, I'm thinking beef. When I think of Texas Chainsaw Massacre,
I think-
they're all talking about killing the cows. You know.
Well, you say that, but
shot.
on the set, they went searching for bones, and they found like a cow, a goat, that hedgehog or the armadillo in the beginning.
Oh, yeah, the armadillo,
And so
yeah.
all the scattered pieces are pieces you found about the way.
Apparently,
And
still had a decent amount of goop on it
yeah,
too.
so that heat
And
wave
it
that
was
they were
real-
experiencing in Texas was real great, real good for the cast. and
Yeah,
the crew.
I guess the cast like took rotating breaks to go throw up outside.
Oh, that was during the dinner
house.
scene.
Oh,
Yeah, that was during the dinner
Can't
scene.
say I blame him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very.
I think for me, the visual
Exactly.
of her in the dinner scene being tied with her arms are tied to a chair, and the arms of the chair are human
Yeah,
arms.
are human arms.
That was so visually arresting that I had to keep looking at it, going, "That can't be right." What? What?
But I think that's the most iconic scene of this movie is probably the dinner scene.
Oh well, yeah. I mean, it's sort of like the culmination of everything.
But that's like it's like recreate a bunch of I think it's Resident Evil or some sort of video game.
oh, for real.
Mo.
I would say either that or the very final scene, like in the road where he chases her with the chainsaw.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, it's,
Him just sort of flailing
Flailing,
around. Yeah.
So he started giving a fuck at that point, and he just started like just swinging that chainsaw. And he said he saw a Toby Hooper duck, and he's like, "Oh, I'm getting close." Oops. But therefore, when he had that metal grate, so he's swinging around, Leatherface hits it on his calf. There's a metal piece that's protecting him from the
Yeah.
chainsaw.
Yeah.
It's just getting warmer every time. This hotter piece of metal every time. This was not a safe set.
Yeah, no, I read a fair
No.
amount of filming this, and it sounded like a dumpster fire. Like it's when they cut her finger to feed to Grandpa.
Oh, yeah.
it was in the middle of like a 28-hour filming spree because they didn't have the money.
Oh, that's
to
right, yeah.
roll over anymore.
Well, the guy was like, "I'm not putting this makeup on again.
Yeah.
Fuck it. You're
So
getting me
we get
now. I'm
one take.
Grandpa. I'm doing this
Yeah.
all day.
Oh my God.
All day."
Yeah, so the knife was supposed to be blunted with like this little gel packet on it that you kind of squeeze as he was running it across her finger, and it just wouldn't work, and he ended up just like between takes taking it off and just actually cutting her finger. And in retrospect, he was like, that was a terrible idea. It was like 26 hours into filming. I was going kind of crazy. My bad.
So when
my
he was
God.
sucking, he was like sucking her finger. Like that screaming she has is real.
That's awful.
Yeah, so
It's great.
interesting film.
Right.
I mean,
Toby
it
Hooper.
is.
What the hell?
And the thing is I genuinely enjoy that film for what it is. It doesn't have good acting, know, and
Dumb teenager. But it does,
They're
it does
all
kind of set the dumb teenager. Like,
a little
just
bit,
fun
a
teenager.
little bit, yeah.
Well, I'd say I do like how. So we have the main sibling pair and
Oh, God.
the sister and then the brother
Franklin?
Yeah, the brother in the wheelchair. Who God, Franklin sucks.
See, that was like I got so
He's a
irritated
method actor, okay?
because I was just like, I want to have, I guess, some level of sympathy for that character.
Yeah, Franklin sucks, but also
But
his
God,
sister.
he's such a
His sister
annoying
sucks
asshole.
too because she convinced
Yeah.
him to come on this trip and then she immediately bails.
Yeah.
Basically.
The minute he can't like do for himself and she has to look after him, she's like, "Oh, Franklin, we're gonna go in the house. Why don't you just sit out here alone by
Yeah.
yourself?"
Yeah, and as much as that sucks, he would have been better off just sitting in that van doing nothing.
Yeah. I read an interesting article though on how the hitchhiker actually cursed Franklin, and that's why he ended up acting so weird. Because
Well, didn't he put the blood on Franklin's face?
yeah, so
like,
he
the palm
cuts
and-
Franklin and then takes his picture and then like gets the blood on the picture and burns the whole thing. And then after that, when he gets kicked out of the van, he
marks the
blows
van.
those raspberries and stuff.
Yeah.
We see Franklin doing that same raspberry thing later on, and then also just like chewing on that piece of meat that he got from somewhere in some
Piece of meat.
Oh, which also I assume that gas station just sold human.
Yeah.
So that's
for
great.
sure.
Oh yeah, that's all that is.
Yeah.
just human. Just straight human.
It's about meat.
Genuine, locally sourced, free range human.
I mean, true. Early examples of organic.
Oh, I do really love that moment when after she's like quote unquote escaped and she manages to make it to the gas station and then
Oh,
she
God,
realizes
yeah.
what's going on and there's that sort of slow pan to the right,
Of
and
the
you see
sizzle-
the
the
rotating,
spit.
sizzling cuts
Yeah.
of meat, and just the sound of the meat cooking and the way it's slowly revolving is so disgusting.
Yeah,
and
it
I
is.
loved it because I was both hungry and disgusted.
What I remember about that part, though, because there's something, her screaming for like the last half of the movie.
Oh,
my
a lot of screaming.
God, that was
That's
so much
intense.
screaming. It's like
And-
20 to 30
and it's
minutes
a lot
of screaming.
And you can tell by like just her facial features at that point that she's doing a pretty good job at looking like she's losing her mind
Yes.
a little bit in that
Well, that was the end
scenario.
of the 20
and that's
hour, right?
exactly. So it's all coming about rather naturally for her, but everything about the dinner scene to me is so comical.
Yeah.
Like I had
It
a
was-
hard time taking it fully
Yeah, it was
serious.
You
weird.
saw Leatherface was dressed, right? He was dressed
He's a
as the
housewife.
housewife.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had his
changed
third
outfits.
and faces. He had 3 different faces in
Yeah,
this
he
movie.
was. I
Yes.
was like, this is.
This one was the pretty face.
Yeah, it was a party face.
Yeah.
It had
Honestly,
makeup on it.
Yeah, it was purty. She had a purty mouth.
It's like a mockery of the nuclear family kind of.
Yeah.
Deal, right? You
Well,
got the.
I
On
think
it-
that
yeah.
that was a direct Ed Gein parallel in which he had multiple faces that he kept in a variety of different ways. That some
that's
were
terrible.
were tanned like leather, and some were treated with like silver oxide, and some were kept much like his like Leatherface's housewife face were kept like on display that and wore makeup so that they had makeup on them.
Good times.
Yikes. I also saw the Ed Gein, like I saw the artifacts they had in the lamp where they had faces on many sides, and I was like, oh yeah, there I saw that, and there it is. And
There were a lot of interesting artifacts found in Ed Gein's house.
that they definitely took inspiration in the movie. They're just
Oh.
like, oh yes,
Yeah,
this will be the thing.
like
face chic.
the nipple belt. The nipple
Oh,
belt
I
might be
heard
my
about that.
favorite.
The nipple.
I'm sorry, what?
Ed Gein had a nipple belt.
It's a belt
Made
covered
of
in nipples.
Where do I get one of these?
Ed Gein.
You have to dig up 17 old ladies.
Oh my god.
Okay.
He also was the inspiration, as you might know, for Buffalo Bill and Silence of the
Yeah.
Lambs, and had made himself what the police called a mammary vest.
Oh wow.
Good God.
Though I think
there are
anything
things
about
I
this.
learn on this podcast.
know.
I can
I
never
think-
unlearn.
My favorite horrifying artifact from the Ed Gein house is the.
It wasn't even either of those.
No, it was not. It was a box of 9 vaginas.
Exactly 9.
Cool. Yeah, well, I mean that's about the right number. Like 10 or more, that's just too many.
Too many vaginas.
Yeah.
Though I think one of the weirdest things was that he had like one of those old bed frames where you could take the like the knob off and
Yeah.
it's hollow inside, and it was full of old chewing gum. Just like wads and wads of old chewing gum. Like what the fuck?
No, I mean
I love
honestly,
that
okay.
that's the most disturbing thing for
That's
me.
out of all of it, that makes sense. He's in bed, he's chewing his gum, wants to go to sleep, doesn't want to choke on it, so he's all and just talk like that one actually kind of makes sense. It's gross,
And I mean,
but
if you keep 9 vaginas,
Yeah,
you never have to
like-
go look for another one, I guess.
I'd say the reason why my brain keeps coming back to that is because I'm like, how do you keep the two sides together?
You got the big chewing gum, like Sandlot and shit. Like, well, I know Ed Gein was one of the influences, but so was his doctor, Toby Hooper's doctor. He went to a party, and he's like young in life. Toby Hooper is saying like his doctor told him that one day as a medical student, he cut the face off a cadaver, and he leathered it.
Why?
And wore it as a mask to a Halloween party.
That's not
Party time.
That's not cool, bro.
That is not cool.
the,
And then
the
he was
60s
like,
were a
"I'm
hell
your
of a drug.
doctor."
Jesus
I was
Christ.
like, how long did Toby Hooper see him after this?
God.
Yeah, that was actually another.
That is
Yep,
so-
that's his inspiration
Though-
for Leatherface himself.
Though
Wow.
med students are weird. I do remember hearing a story once about med students who played a prank on one of their fellow med students by putting a live rat inside a cadaver that they
Oh
were
my
about to
God.
cut open, so that when
That's how I pee
so that
myself.
when the person being pranked like started cutting into the body, it started like wiggling around, and then a fucking rat jumped out of it. Like I would shit my pants.
Sorry, I think it's really funny.
That's fucked up.
It's better than I'm wearing a face.
Yes,
True.
in the scheme of things, that's more along the vagina.
And that's how you
No,
start putting
damn it.
bubble gum.
It's more along the bubblegum post and not the
let's
vagina
make it,
box.
yes. That's how you start putting bubble gum. You're like, well, that's okay. So bubble gum's fine.
I just feel like the bubblegum thing is like the slippery slope to cutting people's faces off. Is
Now we all like
that's
will
a
look
jump
out for
I would
that.
never make in my mind.
I will say that while I've read like lists of things they found in the house, I couldn't quite bring myself to look at the crime scene photos.
I don't think I'd be.
Yeah,
I
interested
like,
in
I-
seeing
I
that.
I'm
like the
good with
artifacts,
that.
but not the crime scene photos.
Yeah, like they exist.
Oh,
They're- Like
yeah.
a lot of crime scene photos exist, but I can't.
Nope.
I think that's too real.
I think I've only ever seen one, and that was for the Lizzie Borden. I've seen the picture of the father on the
interesting.
couch.
Oh,
He did not have a face anymore.
No, he did not. Though I have to say, I saw there's like a new Lizzie Borden movie or miniseries coming out, and I saw that it was taglined as history's most gruesome slaying, and I'm like, I beg to differ, my friend.
I mean, I don't know enough about gruesome murders to know where to compare it. But I think what they should say perhaps is for that time period.
For that time period,
Probably one of the most
yes.
gruesome.
It's sort of like how they call H.H. Holmes America's first serial killer.
Yeah,
Like,
like,
what
I
they
doubt
really
he
mean
was,
now,
but yeah.
first urban serial killer, the first serial killer to really
The
like
murder house.
prey on a city, whereas before that, most of them were like countryside.
Was that a Devil in the White City?
Yes.
One? Okay, nice.
Really good book.
I need
It's
to
an
read
excellent
that.
book.
We
Yeah.
should do a book report on that at some point.
I don't want to do a book.
Well,
report.
okay, we should read it
should,
and talk
adults.
about it.
I wrote a 5-page book report.
no one's gonna read that.
Peer teacher.
That dude was crazy pants. He had like giant slides that came down from the second floor into the basement
He built a murder house.
that would end in a pit full of lime.
That's insane shit, man.
God.
All
I
right.
don't want to carry a body.
So this is a
Okay,
great
so-
movie.
Okay, we're gonna.
This is what watching Texas Chainsaw Massacre does.
It makes me start thinking about serial killers and how to not be killed.
It was a simple idea.
Yeah, and I like that.
It was a simple idea.
I don't think things ever need to be overblown. I don't ever need explanations in scary films.
Yeah.
Yes.
just-
Because the massacre just starts. It's like, yeah, you get there,
Literally,
you
yeah.
pick up a hitchhiker, you get to get to gas station, ask for directions, and they say, be careful. And they're like, I know what I'm doing. There's a house that we own. You get to the house, then you're like, I wonder what's over
Everybody
here.
starts splitting off. As you do.
They're
As you do.
teenagers. It's time to bone
Are they
down.
not? They're like in their 20s, right?
I guess.
They're young and stupid.
Yeah,
Young
they're
and
dumb.
stupid. That's all
Young
that- yeah.
and dumb.
But like I totally agree, Mary, that I don't need to know the backstory of
No.
this family. I don't need to know why they
Yeah.
like why Leatherface wears people masks. I
Right.
don't need to know. I don't need to know. He shows up and he
We
does.
just need
That's
to
all I
know
need.
that if you go too far into his house, he's gonna club you and use you for
Basically,
parts.
yeah. And that leads me to talk about what's probably. It's weird to say favorite with a movie like this, but this is the part that I think is the best part of the movie is when the very first guy gets killed. Going into the house.
yeah.
Yes.
Like an idiot, and actually going towards the pig sound that's coming from that room, and then literally just getting hit on the head with the hammer, hit twice, pulled in, door slammed.
Is that the twitching or is that?
Yeah, that's the twitching. I love everything about that just because there's no music. It's all you hear that thud
Yeah.
of it hitting his head. And the slamming of the door is
That
so
metal
final.
door.
It was such
Oh, that metal
casual
door.
brutality.
Yeah.
Like,
Yes.
Well, because it's just their job, right? I mean, they don't view it as like we get to kill people. I think in their mind, it's just like
It's just what we do.
the business of killing cattle is no longer viable in this wherever they are. So they just progressed
I think
to human meat.
I think the part of that scene that struck me the most is not even the part with the murder. It's the then cut to outside where it's so brightly lit that it's almost overexposed.
And it's it's at her back, right?
Yeah.
So that
Yeah,
you
that
see
was
the
such
house
a
just like-
great shot. And as she walks up, the house just becomes this looming entity. Like,
Yeah.
That's supposed to be a good shot, and somebody said that almost didn't happen.
yeah,
for
that
some
apparently
reason.
they had to fight really hard to get that in the movie.
and it's like such an iconic shot.
yeah,
Right? It's very arresting. It's just the house, which on the outside looks so innocent, so much like any farmhouse you drive by. But now we know it exists inside of it, which gives it a much larger than life presence. So even in the sunlight, you're not safe, which in most horror movies you
It's
are.
nighttime stuff,
yeah, it's
too,
like
yeah.
you're watching the horror film and it's dark and like bad things are happening, but the minute the sun comes up, you know you're safe. But this is not that movie.
Yeah.
Not
and
at
then
all.
even her death was pretty quick and casual too,
the
where it's
meat
just
hook?
just grabbed, hooked, and like I kind of feel like all the movies that are more contemporary that I've watched, it focuses a lot more on the killing, and you really kind of stretch that out and stretch out the they take like 4 minutes to die, and it's just boom, hook, cool, we're done.
Yeah,
Let's go
move on to
get
the next.
chopping.
Yeah.
Well, I was also
Did you hear about that? Okay, sorry.
I was also surprised that they didn't. That it was pretty gore free. That like even for
truthfully,
a scene where they put her on the hook and you hear the sound and you see the hook first, so you know what's happening. But there's no pan down. We don't see the hook come through the chest. There's no blood.
Yeah.
They were trying to get a PG rating.
Yeah. There was no
and
PG-13 at the time, right?
Yeah, it did not work at all.
And I mean, that
not
movie
work.
still got banned for a period of time.
Yeah, in
so,
a decent number of places.
Well, and there was no PG-13. I mean, I read that too, that they're supposed to like try to get no blood. That's why there's not that much blood. There's
Hey,
no blood.
the
I'm like,
MPAA
I
is
see
a
blood.
big old
Oh, yeah,
I see
scam,
blood
dude.
all the time. I see blood on the guy. He was sticking his hand. I see God, but that's true. When you on the meat hook, it isn't like it wasn't
Right.
gory.
Yeah.
Because they
But
didn't.
Franklin still got
Tasteful meat cooking.
tasteful meat hook.
But it was at nighttime, so you're still not seeing that
The
much.
Franklin, yeah, it's
Yeah.
true. What I was gonna say was, do you hear about that woman, the one who with the meat hook woman that was up in the ice chest later, right? She's like, in my mind, she escaped. I'm like, no, you didn't, bitch.
You did not escape. You got
Yeah.
meat hooked
She
and
goes
then
to
shoved in a
Cons,
freezer.
and she's like, I escaped.
No, you didn't.
No.
Sorry.
There's
you,
one.
You, you're
You hella
dead. There's
dead.
one
You did.
one escapee from the madhouse, and it's not you.
Don't be trying to make us.
I did.
It is what
I
it
did a
is.
quick Google, and the PG-13 rating was not introduced until 1984.
It was for a Spielberg
PG.
movie, right?
Yes,
yeah.
it was for Red Dawn.
Oh,
the
that's
classic.
a remake that we should
Classic
never
Red
watch.
Dawn. Wolverines.
Right, and like so, their first nighttime kill is Franklin, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because everybody else,
First
the first
chainsaw.
couple, we've got our guy who gets whacked on the head. Then we've got Dummy going in after him, stumbling into the room of bones,
Oh my
and
god.
the chicken in the cage.
So that's the rotting.
Is that like
that's,
their version of a crow? Like, was that chicken supposed to signal people?
It's whatever they found, man. Like, yeah, exactly. Chicken.
Yeah, I think her falling into that room that is just chock full of bones,
man.
is also very upsetting.
Which is gooey.
There's just something about they're not like artfully displayed. They're just
It's just
everywhere.
your disposal room.
Basically,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oof.
And then he And then he meat hooks her.
Yep.
And is it at that point that Leatherface goes and sits by the window and looks all agitated?
No, he's then chainsawing, I think, the first dude up.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Because he does look agitated. Like,
Yeah.
and is
There's
that
too many
supposed to-
people.
Yeah, is that supposed to be the thing of like, just can't get a break?
I know.
I figured,
I just want to take a nap.
Well, maybe
These
they only have
stupid
enough-
people need clubbing.
Maybe they only have enough freezer space for 2 bodies.
That's true.
and he's like, this meat's gonna go to waste.
I hope more people don't come to dinner. For dinner.
I would say I honestly think the dinner scene reminds me of the dinner scene from Nothing But Trouble. You guys see
Oh god.
It is
That movie is terrible.
It is a horrible, goddamn,
It is
wonderful, horrible movie.
Terrible. John Candy and
Dan Aykroyd.
Dan Aykroyd plays like 4 people.
And he was pushing for it so hard.
Oh, weird.
Oh, man.
It's like these people are
And
out
Demi
for a
Moore.
drive. Yeah, they found nothing but trouble.
God. Oh no.
It was
It's so bad.
inappropriate.
I think it has like a 6% rating on Rotten Tomatoes.
Oh my goodness.
Yup.
yeah.
It
No,
was a
we're gonna
wild time.
avoid that one.
Wild
It's real
time.
bad.
It was a very comical scene. But
yeah, so-
then that guy killed them. Franklin, it was the first one with the chainsaw. I mean, that was called Texas Chainsaw
And
Massacre.
wait, and there's the other dude. There's what's her name's boyfriend who also goes into the house.
That's so she finds
and
in the freezer.
he's the
right?
first one who gets sawed during the day.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah. And then it's her and Franklin in the woods. you know,
And she's trying to push that chair through the woods.
Yeah, and
I can't punch it, Franklin. He's like,
Yeah.
fuck off.
And then, you know, then there's Franklin, and then it's all her. It's all our final girl, I guess, you know, who she does do quite well in getting away, in my opinion. I don't know that even at my most crazed and freaked out, I don't know if I would have it in me to jump through a full glass
Oh yeah. No,
yeah.
and she did that twice. Like she powered through windows. Lady hated windows.
Yes.
There was a door right next to it, and she's like, "Fuck you, window."
No window. I got no time for doors.
no time for doors. And she does. She
I love
makes
the
it away.
hitchhiker running her after her, like taunting her, like, "I'm gonna catch up with you. Like,
Yeah.
you're not going that fast."
Yeah,
Yeah, that
or
was
like
disturbing.
well,
Yeah,
when she
right?
gets to the gas station, that you know, to try to get away that first time, and the guy's just hitting her with the broom.
That was so weird.
That's what he pointed out too. Like even when she was like at the bottom of the car, right at the where the feet go, and he was just like, "Yeah, see, there's no blood. I didn't poke her with a poker. I got her like I put her in the broom." It's like, hey. And they're like, this is so weird.
Well, and even like there's that small part there before the dinner scene is fully going on where he's trying to like explain to her that like he doesn't want to hurt her or
He doesn't
like
have the
torture
stomach for
her.
it.
He doesn't have the stomach for all this. But by the time they're all cracking up at the table, he seems down. He seems okay with all of it.
He's like, I don't have the stomach to physically stab you myself, but I can sit here and watch Leatherface do it.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Well,
or
the
watch
hitchhiker
Grandpa
was-
try like 10
Oh,
times to hit her on the head.
Grandpa
that
was trying so hard.
Bizarre. I was like, oh my god.
Is Grandpa is he like dead? Is he a zombie? Like what the
No,
fuck?
I think he's just super duper old. Because he was chowing down on that finger and kind of grabbing at the
What's
hammer.
that? You, have the three of you seen The Runaways?
The show?
The
Yeah.
TV show The Runaways.
Oh yeah.
It's like what that guy is before he gets enough energy to come out.
yeah.
He looks all like withered and wrinkled and living, but not. That's what
Yeah.
Grandpa looks
Yeah.
like.
Also,
Yeah.
if you want to hear about the Runaways, listen to Bampow TV.
yes.
Well done.
Side plug.
That was relevant. Nice. Also on NOTG.
yeah, another
Oh la la.
NOTLG special.
There you go.
But yeah, so she gets away. You know, good for her.
As that random trucker stops the second time she leaves.
That guy's great.
That guy's
I thought he was
great.
gonna
I was
die.
like, this man needs
And-
something. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, no, he's just, I got my hammer, boop, right in the head.
And then they both just run and like,
Yeah.
no, just run around the trucker, around the truck. I'm like,
And then
oh, shit.
and then she hops in the back of the pickup.
Which I was like, what about the trucker now?
Right?
Like, I
She
was
just
like,
bailed on
yeah,
him.
my mother.
Oh, no, I assumed that guy was already like 2 miles down.
Yeah, he just
he
can't
hit his
Come
stride.
back
He's
for
all,
his truck. He has to come back for his haul.
Yeah,
never
with
come back.
14 of his friends.
Yes.
There you go.
And she's a pretty bloody mess at that point.
Oh, yeah.
actually.
Oh yeah. She's been to the wars.
She's been to the wars and she makes it away. Now, I have never watched any, like, there's sequels to Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Dennis Hooper.
I've
Never watched them.
I feel like I did, but then I maybe.
And I've not watched the remake.
No,
that they
that's
did.
the one
I heard that was awful.
Jessica Biel,
Is that who it
Yeah.
is? Okay. Yeah.
which I love Jessica Biel, but I did not watch that.
Well, they did ask the guy who played Leatherface to be in it, and he's offended. He was like, why, you didn't think we did a good job the first time? Or- They
Damn.
said something like, we wanted, oh God, they said something. But with less blood or something like that, or more blood. Or more, and he's like,
Probably
did you even
more,
see
yeah.
the movie?
Yeah.
Like, it was like, what are you talking about?
I would say
More violence. He goes, more okay.
I think we're
Yeah, he's all, I think that's all we did, thanks.
say this movie had the most gruesome tone, but the least amount of blood.
Yeah.
Which I think is to its credit.
Yeah, it's
Just
interesting.
yeah.
It's like Silence of the Lambs has very little blood in it, but the themes there are very disturbing.
Exactly. And you don't have to have a lot of blood to make a good scary film.
Oh, yeah, I
You
agree.
can. And it can work, obviously, but you don't have to do it. I think if you can get creative with how you're actually getting across these horrible things that are happening, then I feel like all the better. I enjoy it.
I really didn't like I heard like, oh, there's not less mud, there's not much blood, but I felt like the blood they did have was very much on display. Like he's cutting himself, it's like center display, and then like she's bleeding into someone's mouth apparently, so on display. So I feel like, oh, okay, there's not much blood, but it definitely is like center. I don't mind blood as much, or I don't notice as much when it's more like when she went through the window, and if she was covered in blood because she went through a fucking window, I'd be like, all right. Yep, that's gonna happen.
It's all realistic bloodletting.
So do it. So I was like, whatever.
Well, what's the general consensus of the film then?
I actually didn't like it at all.
Yeah.
Like, I don't like it. I don't like the film
it at all.
Well, in the way that to me it's just a film that shows ugly people doing ugly things, and I'm like, I know there's ugly people doing ugly things. I'm good.
Yeah, I would say there are parts of it that I thought were very visceral and really affected me. But so much of it, I think especially the part where it's just the kids hanging out, and something about the sound quality was really bad, so that I had to turn the film up to like 80 on my computer.
They recorded it with a potato.
Yeah. It's like fucking mumblecore. I can't hear shit.
Yeah.
And so it's just these kids wandering around. I don't know what do you want to do. And I lost my friggin' mind. And I think I've watched a lot of other films from the same era that I think are so much better. And so I would say that what I would say about this film is sort of what I usually say about the Beatles, that I don't necessarily enjoy
Oh my god.
them by themselves, but I can appreciate what they brought to the genre.
Yeah, I do. You know,
I'm
after
just gonna
talking,
slide this knife over to and we'll see what Mary does with it.
after talking with you guys, and like, yeah, like I see like some people love this movie, and it's so classic to them. And I figured it was just their time where they saw this movie. They're like, oh my god, it's different from everything we'd ever seen. Compared to now, I'm like, okay, and yeah, I see all the points we made and everything. And I do appreciate the viewpoint people have, and appreciate what Toby did and everything. But you know, it's not for me.
I mean,
not my jam.
There's a lot of things that I respect for what they do or what they put out into the world that I don't necessarily like.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, oh, I could watch this any day of the week. That's how I feel about Halloween. I could watch that any day.
Put it on. I'm right there.
Because I love it. But I enjoy parts of this film quite a bit. And so for me, you know, the most uncomfortable part as far as like not good is when it's just the young people in the van being dummies.
Because they just all
pretty
suck.
spot on also. Like,
Well, they were all like
really
unknowns.
weird.
I mean, they didn't know how to act.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Franklin was a method actor from theater.
No.
He had rage. Apparently even Leatherface, the actor, hated him. He's like, I fucking hate this guy.
Good, I don't blame him.
He
they were
hated
apparently
him.
all really mean to Leatherface too. Like
but
none of them would
They
talk
wouldn't
to
say-
him.
Well, because they couldn't wash anything because of the costuming and the budget and everything. So they couldn't wash anything. So this
he
guy
was really stinky.
was covered in
Yeah, it was all bad.
It was all bad. But until like people, he said something like, until people got killed by me, then they were like, all right, hey. But, but even for, he said, I could like, you know, because you go to the cons and they're all kind of in the same panels. He goes, oh, that's when I realized this guy was a dick because he was a method actor or whatever. And actually they became really good friends. And they,
That's nice.
until Leatherface's actor's death. Gunther, I think.
Yeah,
it was?
yeah. Is it
And then-
Gunner?
Gunner.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. He's not a small penguin. He's not. I'm watching a lot of Adventure Time. But they became really good friends. So
I kind of liked it.
That's cool. I like it for what it is more than anything, I think. And the fact that I do believe that for that time period, it probably really fucked up some people.
Oh shit!
And that's a big deal because I was actually just sitting today and thinking about films, and I was, you know, there's a lot of movies that have come out in the last, I don't know, 5-10 years that I've enjoyed and really, really like a lot. But I don't know that I've seen anything that I feel like has redefined something to the point that 20 years from now it's going to be considered a classic. I don't know that I have anything like that. And a lot of the stuff that I do consider to be classics are older.
Yeah. And that's, I think one of the things that I really liked about this was this is the first time I've seen it, and watching it, I was just like, oh, you know, here's all these small things that just keep showing up in movies that these two weirdos just thought up and threw
Started
in.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say the only thing I can think of that's more of a recent film that I would be able to say really redefined the genre would be Scream.
No, yeah, huh?
When was that made? 90?
That was in the 90s. So
That's
20 years ago.
it's more recent than the 70s.
true.
Yeah.
Very true. And I agree with you. That movie really
what about
revitalized
Saw?
horror film.
Like Saw 1.
Okay.
Ooh, or the house one with the baby cam.
Double
Paranormal Activities.
Paranormal Activity.
Oh, fuck that.
I mean, you may not like it, but that really, I think, kind of kicked off a
Yeah,
whole...
shaky cam.
Or even a Blair Witch Project.
Blair Witch Project
Blair Witch.
changed shit.
Yeah, which
Yes.
honestly, again, didn't really love, but then again,
No,
it
I
did the
didn't
thing.
like Blair Witch, but
love Blair
I
Witch.
did really like Paranormal Activity. So, unpopular opinion at this table.
The people in Paranormal Activity got on my nerves way too much. Now, the Blair Witch
Okay.
people, I could understand them getting on people's nerves, but I feel like when you're stuck in the woods and you cannot figure a way out and things, you hear stuff and all that, I could see myself becoming a very unpleasant person to be around if I felt like I couldn't escape.
Oh, yeah.
That kind of thing. I just keep thinking these bitches could get out of their fucking house and just go.
Yes.
Well, they didn't have a giant plate glass window to jump out of. They were like, how do I door?
How do I get out of here?
I was just reading something about Paranormal Activity and about how the boyfriend is in that movie is obviously the worst.
He is such an asshole.
But that was like on purpose. That he's supposed to. It's supposed to be almost like a gender study about how. Like there's like weird shit that happens that supernatural activity tends to be more drawn to women than men, and about how the machismo of it all of not being able to recognize when stuff is right in front of your face, and so he's like actively supposed to annoy you. Like that's the point.
He did a great job.
He did a great job because he was the worst.
He was the worst.
Good job, dude.
Well, yeah. So I would agree with Scream.
Yes,
I would agree that changed some stuff, and I would say Blair Witch Project changed.
That's true.
Changed some things definitely, because Paranormal Activity, in my opinion, wouldn't work at all had Blair Witch not set the tone of found. This
Yes,
kind of
I
found
would agree.
footage sort of deal.
Is it real? But
And-
this one time I do that too, right? Is it true? This is a true story.
That's how you
You're like,
scare
it's not
people
true
the
story.
most, right? Is
Yeah,
make them
it's
think
true.
that this
Yeah,
is
it's super
something that
true.
actually happened, which means it could actually happen again.
Yeah.
And what if you were there?
I would say that I think that the original Saw movie has merit. I think it has a really interesting story and has cool stakes. I think all of the other ones were involved in part of that. I think there was a change in the genre at that point, that we were moving more toward a hostile and sort of
Yeah.
torture porn thing.
Yeah, snuffy
but
type
like
crap.
No, don't like that.
I don't consider that because I personally don't like that, and so I feel like that's like a step backwards for the genre. So I feel like that we're finally moving past that and getting more into like violence with a purpose.
Ooh, like with The Purge. Side note, shout out.
Yes,
Surprisingly good movie.
yeah, we watched the first two Purges, and they are real good.
Yeah,
they got something to say. There's a nice political statement, and not very bloody at all. I would say not the violence that is shown has a purpose, and it's not gratuitous.
I might have to. I've not watched any of the Purge films.
I mean, I don't have a problem with violence. It's why are people doing something? That's
Yes.
really, and this family's just, psycho. And I'm like, okay.
Okay.
Like, all right.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think it's also like maybe it's also the reaction people have. Like some people are like, well, that's what happens when you get in someone's home. I'm like, that's not really, it should be a reaction.
Maybe not to that extent.
Yeah, I'm like, y'all,
It's kind of a Texas
maybe
reaction,
don't
though.
eat people. Texas
Push for that
reaction.
stand your
Take
ground
a
Oh my
stuff.
God.
Well, see, that's, because I wrote down my rules after watching this. And, one of the rules is don't go to Texas.
Don't go to
I mean, that's just a good life rule.
Yeah,
It's
don't
so-
go to Texas.
maybe it's
Hot
just wanting to
and
Austin and just kind
swampy.
of
Yeah.
out.
Exactly.
Ooh, Galveston's nice.
Don't pick up hitchhikers.
Yes.
And just keep driving.
Just keep driving.
Don't stop till you're out of the
You
state.
see that the grandparents' house is decrepit and gross. Get the fuck out.
Just go.
I'm sure there's a hotel somewhere.
Like, why are
We're
you
good.
why are you running around?
Oh my God!
Don't
Like,
go to a town where somebody is desecrating graves.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
like, just say, hey, buddy, who runs the cemetery? Can I just pay you $100 to clean that up for me?
Yeah.
Thanks, pal.
Let me
shove
call you
Grandpa in a
from my not
box.
Texas.
It's fine. Yeah.
He's dead. What does he care?
Right. We're gonna stay wherever we're from.
Not Texas.
Not Texas.
Oh my God.
All right. So general respect for Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Not a complete liked film.
It's not one that I'll feel a need to rewatch.
In fact, I watched the opening and I was like, okay. And then exactly after the opening of John Le Carre, I'm like, done. After I already watched it again. I was like, no, you're good.
And you were disturbed enough.
Yeah, I don't think I'd rewatch it, but I'm glad I did watch it.
Nice.
Cool.
Interesting.
Although I watched the first half in a Starbucks and the second half in break room at work. Neither are appropriate viewing places for this movie.
Fantastic.
Yeah. So.
And as far as like Screaming Kenneth, what would you give it?
Like 2 at most.
Okay. Okay.
It wasn't that. I don't know.
It
didn't really get me.
Yeah.
Probably watching it at Starbucks helped a lot also. But,
You weren't watching
Venti
it in
latte.
Texas.
yeah.
Venti
It's like,
cap, 2 pump. Like, Did you? And you heard how he got the idea of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre of like the actual chainsaw was Christmas shopping at like a Sears. He's like,
yeah.
Nice.
fucking crowds. Like, I thought if I got
if I
this
just
chainsaw, and I would. I mean, I wouldn't. But what if I did? Which is interesting because I worked at Macy's. I worked at the cleaning counter over at Oak Ridge, and there was a Christmas time where this woman just straight up took a hammer out of her purse and started going. And I was like, well, see, that's not funny.
Wait, like on people?
Yeah,
Or,
yeah.
Holy
oh my
shit.
god!
She actually like threw the hammer and clubbed a guy in the head.
Holy shit.
I didn't see it, but apparently it landed a couple feet away from my counter, and I was like, yep, I can understand how he got this idea.
Good
These
Lord.
crowds are nuts,
I am so
Damn.
glad I don't work retail anymore.
right?
Holy shit.
Fuck retail.
Preach.
Fuck retail.
Yikes.
Yeah, I was like, I could definitely understand how this organically came to have a chainsaw, and just be like, okay,
Yeah. Yeah.
Good Lord, people.
yeah,
Cool.
Online shopping.
Yeah.
Yes.
Life.
That's the way to go.
Cyber Monday.
All right, so 2 Screaming Kenneths for Texas Chainsaw Massacre and a general feeling of respect for the
Yeah.
film with varying degrees of genuine like or dislike.
Yes.
Fantastic. As always, I hope anyone who's listening to this enjoyed the hell out of it because I know I enjoyed myself with Texas Chainsaw.
Yes.
And I'm really glad that we finally talked about it on this podcast, which you can listen to at notlg.com and on SoundCloud at the Night of the Living Geeks page there. You can find us on Facebook. I believe it's at What You Casted or something like that. And it's the same thing on Twitter as well.
Also on Spotify now.
And we're on
Yeah.
Spotify as well. Night of the Living Geeks. Look for us. We're everywhere. And you can still, of course, rate us on iTunes. 5 big stars.
5 golden stars.
5 giant chainsaws.
5 vaginas in a box.
I'm out.
5 nibbles on a belt.
And this is where I wrap it all up. You're all cut off. And as always, creep it real.
Creep it real.
Hey listeners, do you want everyone to know what you did last summer? Want to bring a little Halloween to even the sunniest of days? Check out our merch store at shop.spreadshirt.com/NOTLG for shirts, hoodies, mugs, and commemorative knives. Okay, that was a joke. We don't actually have hoodies. Okay, that also was a joke. We do have hoodies.
This has been a Night of the Living Geeks production. For more information and content, visit NOTLG.com.